Hey everyone, it's Nixie, and it's been a while. I've been pretty busy with work, so I haven't had the chance to make videos for y'all. And work doesn't seem like it's gonna stop anytime soon with all the push for deadlines before end of the year, so it's gonna be kinda rough for me for a bit. But I do want to still make videos for y'all because I do think Dory is still in a very good spot. So just because I haven't uploaded videos for a bit, doesn't mean I am down on Dory at all. In fact, I am super excited for her because I feel we are pretty favored into the new Super Slam heroes, as well as some of the new top heroes in the meta like Kayo, Syndra, and Gravy. Earth heroes, you might still struggle into, but we can't win them all, and you'll have to kind of adapt in the future, so we'll see how that goes in another video. But for today's video, I thought we will revisit our old Heavy Hitters friend Kayo and see how we do into them now. We used to be pretty favored back then because of the no blocks they had as well as lack of D-reacts, which made it very easy for us to rack up counters. But sounds like they got a pretty good buff from the newest set with a lot of go-agains and a lot of on-hits that could be disruptive, so let's see how we still stack up towards this matchup. And before we start, I do want to say thanks to everyone for watching, as well as my patrons who are still supporting me. Sorry I haven't uploaded in a bit, but fear not. I do have some surprises and giveaways for my members, so stay tuned for that. Also, come check out the Discord to talk more about Dory. With that, let's get straight into the game. In this matchup against KO, we do want to go second to be aggressive, but since we lost a die roll, we are forced to go first, which is unfortunate, but there is a chance that we still get some counters. So that could be still pretty good. We're going to go with our aggressive package of cutting to 60. And in this deck list, I'm pretty much using my life gain list. Only thing I changed out was adding the new beat of the Ironsong and the new Fable. So that's the only thing I really changed, and I'm still testing it. So let's start off here by going first. We could pass and see what they do because they could end up discarding some kind of like agile windup, but we're gonna just come in and attack here and just see what they do. Looks like they're going to overblock quite a bit, which is good for us. So with that, we can now arsenal our Supremacy to get ready for the next turn while having Ataya and a beat of the Ironsong to help us get a go again. On their turn, they're going to come in with Wild Ride for 6 go again, and since our plan is just to take everything because we're racing, that's what we're just going to do. We're going to take all the damage. And this is coming in for 8. Now, we could block this, which will give us agility token, and they don't have an arsenal, so I am going to do that to make an agility token, or I should say quicken token, and come in and swing. And I am going to just come in and swing with a naked Dawnblade for 4, thanks to the courage token, and not play out the Supremacy just yet because I do want to set up for a bigger turn. They're gonna massively overblock this for some reason, which is fine with us. We're just gonna heal up and pass it back to them. And they're gonna come in with Bear Fangs for 9. This is just damage, so that's fine, we'll take it. Now we're gonna come in and swing with Supremacy. And we're gonna keep as many cards in hand as we can so that if they flesh bag us, we'll be safe. It looks like they're not going to. This hits and we draw into a red, which is unfortunate, so we're not going to pay into Vigor just yet, because we may want to play this out, which we're going to do to just push over a bit more damage to help us even the life totals. And we draw into Supremacy, which is nice, so we can arsenal that for next turn. And then our opponent is gonna now Blood Rush Bellows, which is scary, and we have a handful of reds, which is not fun. Oh, they play a second Blood Rush Bellows too, so this turn could be pretty big. We're gonna just come in and try to mitigate some of the damage and hopefully draw into a blue, but we draw into another red. Now this is for 11, which is pretty scary. Oh, they have that effect where if I block with stuff, I'm gonna take damage. So I'm gonna take all of it to the face and go from there. So we're gonna swing for 7, pitching our Take It on the Chin. And we're gonna have 2 0-cost reactions with us in case they flesh bag. And they're not going to, which is nice. So that hits, and then we're going to swing with Downblade again by pitching our response again. And I'm favoring to pitch response because they have armor left, and I don't want to get stuck with a response in arsenal. So they're gonna flesh bag here to make sure we don't get another counter, which is fine. And we're going to just arsenal that instead. Here's another new card, Buck Wild, which is pretty much 6 go again. Which is pretty scary because we are only at 11 health compared to their 16. So we are in the back for quite a bit. We're gonna block with Grains here to make sure we get some armor block used up because we don't want to die with 2 armor left on our equipment. And here this is coming in for 7. This is pretty annoying for us because we're gonna take damage from this most likely. We do want to not die from the hit, so we are gonna play Shelter. Prevent 4, but take 1, so pretty much blocking for 3. Alright, 16 to 3. Not looking great, to be honest. We do heal with Heart here, which is nice. And then we're going to come in and swing for 5. Looks like they're going to let all this hit, which is good for us. We finally get to pay into Vigor. And we're going to swing again. Alright. We make another Vigor and a counter. So we have 2 Vigors and Arsenal, which is good. But they have a 5-card hand, and they're going to go for the Savage Slash turn. So this could be pretty nasty. So I expect us to kind of be forced to block with everything, which is going to be unfortunate. But we do have 2 Vigors, Bolters, as well as a 0-cost reaction arsenal, so it's not the end of the world. And so we're going to just block this out for 6. This is coming in for 3. I could take this, but I don't want to go to 1 because then I would just die to an unfortunate Reckless Swing. So we'll block this, and now they come in with Send Packing, which we have to block, so we're going to block that out. And now the opponent knows that we have a Blade Flurry, so they'll most likely play around it. But that's fine, because if they play around this, we are just going to Arsenal it. Yep, as expected, they are going to overblock to reset our counters. So we're just going to Arsenal our attack react and have them come in with just 1 card. Well, I guess pitch 1 card to play a card for 7. So looking at this, I really wish I could keep 3 of these cards, because then I could swing, pitching the Ripple, play Beat, and then pump it with Blade Flurry. Or if they overblock, just go around with the Go Again with the Command and Conquer. But that's not possible. Well, this looks like we're just going to block with 2 cards, a Ripple Away and CNC. No way around it. And then just swing for 3. If they don't block, we will play Blade Flurry. And if they overblock, we'll just play out the Sigil. So Sigil has been growing on me more and more. It's something that we haven't used for a long time, but since starting using it in the life gain list and I'm kind of forced to play it into my aggressive package, it's been working out pretty fine, I think. It keeps the opponent guessing on what to do. So it hasn't been that bad of a card to have. Sometimes I do wish it was a react pump, but other times like this, if they overblock, it's fine. We're just going to go around the block with healing up for 3. Alright, now here this is for 7, and we're gonna have to show them a card for more damage dealt. We did draw into CNC, but I don't want to get hit anyway, so I'm gonna just block this out with the CNC and Shelter. Alright, now we come in with a breakpoint of 5 on hit, swing again, so they're gonna have to overblock this for 8 if they want to stop us from having a 2 swing churn, which they might not be able to do, but it looks like they are actually able to block for 8, which is fine because they're stuck with 1 card, and they're just gonna arsenal it, so most likely a red, or they just really want to set up a big churn. But we draw into a really good hand of twinning, beat, and hit and run, so no matter what, we're gonna swing 3 times, and they're just gonna concede over at this point. And that's the game. So it looked like it was getting dicey, but thanks to Grains helping us keep Vigors around and keeping a reaction arsenal, even though they stripped their whole hand, we were still able to present a lot of threat and force them to overblock, even if they knew what that card was. So that game was pretty dicey, but I felt like I was in control for a good bit at the end. Let's jump into another game. This time we get to go second, which is pretty nice. And our hand is pretty good at blocking, and we do have Sigil, so we could gain some life here. So this is looking pretty good for us. They're gonna play Cast Bones, which is kind of scary because they do get the agility and might, but we do just heal up and then hopefully have that Red Valor to strip some cards from them. We don't get a pump with our next hand, but we still could threaten something here and then maybe provoke a card out so we don't have a pretty nasty churn from them. Looks like they're not going to block at all, which makes sense because they want to just hit hard. So we are going to then just come in, make a Vigor, and swing again. I assume that they're going to give us some armor here, which they do. And we're going to just come in and provoke them to strip another card so they don't have an explosive churn. Alright, so we got another Sigil, which is nice. We do have Beat and Supremacy and CNC. So we'll see what they do with their churn to see how much they have to block. And this is a Blood Rush Bellow churn, so good chance that we're going to be blocking out a bit because we want to stay alive as much as possible. Thankfully, they're coming in with Claw first, so we'll just take this. So Send Packing here doesn't actually hurt us because we have no arsenal. So we could block, but then our churn's kind of mediocre if we just block this out. And they do have a card that they might arsenal, so I do want to keep that CNC. But then I have to pitch something to play that CNC, most likely to be the Ironsong. So I could just take all of this right here and arsenal the Supremacy and play out Sigil. But they actually play out Agile Windup to make an agility token, so our CNC doesn't really do much anymore. So instead, I'm just going to come in and swing with our Supremacy and hold on to the beat of the Ironsong in case I could get that go again. Looks like they're going to give us our armor, and we get lucky and they banish our sigil. So because of this, I am inclined to just pump it over by 1 to see if you have a D-react. And they don't, so this hits. So now I am inclined to break bolters even though I didn't block with it, just to strip more cards out of them. Here, we don't have anything left in hand, so they could completely easily block this. But we do have a sigil that was banished, so we get to arsenal that still. It's not the end of the world if they block this out. So they do block it out, so we don't get a counter, but they are going to kind of waste their agility, which is okay for us. So we're kind of forcing their hand. And this is coming in for 7 go again. And they get lucky by discarding a sea legs that they draw. We're going to mitigate some damage by playing out the shelter. And we'll take the rest of the damage. Here we're going to swing for 3. We do have a glint to give it go again, and a pump if they do have a D-react, but they don't, so we are going to just make a bigger token. Since we know they don't have a D-react because they would have played it last chain link, we're going to come in with a breakpoint of 4, because that would require a card and armor to block this out. But they're not going to block this, so we're going to play out the sigil to not IP ourselves and then arsenal the response. So as you can see, sigil is just very nice. I've been liking it more and more for sure. Just being able to bluff and then play out that sigil at the end of the turn was pretty big. They're going to pop Sash for this turn, so we could expect them to be putting out a lot of damage here. Starting off with Wild Ride, coming in for 6 go again. And they still have 3 cards because they also discarded Beast Within. They're going to pop the Rum to give this 8 go again. This is kind of nice for us because we didn't really have a go again other than our Blue Warrior's Valor. So we definitely want to block this if we can. So we're going to give up 2 pieces of equipment and then block this out with Shelter. And this is coming in for 5. I could have blocked this actually with the Blue Valor. I kind of forgot about it now looking back because I think he's going to just be stuck in my hand and just maybe used for pitching. So no blocks from them, so we're just going to then pay resource into this to make a Vigor. Pump with bracers and swing again. They don't block this. So we do have a dead card of this Blue Valor, which we could pitch into Grains, but there is a chance I don't get a go again source, so I'm going to just keep it in hand for now. We do draw into a Red Valor, so we didn't have to, but there's no way of knowing that. And not having a go again next turn could be game losing, so I wanted to just keep it. Now, opponent's coming in for a lot of damage of Flex Speed, which we'll just take since it's just damage. And now into Wild Ride, which is another go again, so we're going to take this. Most likely it's going to be Claw after, but there is a chance they come in with like something like CNC, so I don't want to block this just yet. But I could give up armor if needed to block out some of the damage. Instead, I'm going to block this out with one card. So they come in for 4 here using the gloves. Thankfully, it's not CNC or anything like that. And we could take this and go to 1, but that's reckless swing range, and we don't want to die to something like that. So we are going to block this out. We are going to block this with gloves and singing here. Because I have a feeling that the opponent's not going to block again, because look at the life total, 16 to 5. If they feel like they could just kill me here, they'll probably just take all the damage, because I can't present lethal yet. So as expected, they just take it. And we're going to just swing again. Coming for 5. And they survive, and we have 1 vigor, which is going to be important for us because we might need it to be able to swing if we block out with our whole hand. Another Wild Ride here for 7 go again. We're going to block with 2 cards to take 1 damage. And this is coming in for 9. Ideally, we kept the last 2 cards of Twinning and Unsheath to have go again. But we don't want to die, so we are going to block with everything, including our armor, and go to 3. Still out of the reckless swing range. And thanks to the vigor, we do get to swing for 6. They're going to perfect block this, and we're going to present lethal with response. And that's game. So, close game again. We clawed it back at the end. But you can see how much weight Grains did there, where we had to block out at the very end with a lot of cards, but because of the vigors, we could still swing. So that's why I think Grains is very important in this matchup, because it helps us carry over into next turn. Whereas Courage is just for 1 turn that you could kind of do that. However, Grains lets us keep on getting that value for multiple turns. Alright, so that was a pretty quick one, so let's play just 1 more game. Our hand is pretty good. We drew Insert Glistening, a Response, and a blue. The new Beat of the Ironsong, which has been really strong, so really happy for that new card. They're gonna roll Scabbies, so we'll see if they still want to attack here. Ideally, I want to keep Glistening if I can, because I only have 1 of it in my deck, and it's just a powerhouse of a card. But they do have a lot of armor left, so I don't really want to have it just yet, if possible. I was hoping that maybe comes in probably like turn 8 or so. So it's not the best, but we'll just play this out to maybe force some armor blocks. We don't want to play Unsheath with Glistening and just keep 1 card, because then they could just easily flesh bag us and strip the last card from us. Looks like they are gonna block here with 2 cards, which is fine. We don't get a counter, but we did get a Send Packing from them, which is pretty big. So we're just going to then Arsenal Response to go around the flesh bag if possible, and draw up. And we draw into a really good hand of Unsheath, Supremacy, and Hit and Run. So ideally we just take everything that they're going to throw at us. And this is just 5 go again, so that's fine with us. If nothing else, we'll just take this. And that's the end of their turn, so we're going to hit back really hard. Eight go again. Maybe they'll use their flesh bag here. But we do have an arsenal of Ironsong response. So hopefully we could just go around it. Or they could just give us all their armor, which will be kind of nasty. But will be the correct play for them in this turn. But they have to be pretty ballsy because I do have 1 resource floating. So I could have a 1 cost pump in arsenal to go over any of their blocks. But they're going to commit their whole armor suite for this. And I'm going to play around flesh bag with playing out the sigil. And pass my turn. We draw into another supremacy, which is good because we could just hit back again. And we're just going to pretty much take as much damage again from the opponent and save our blocks and D-reacts for any on-hits that might happen. Alright, 6 here is pretty unfortunate because I don't really want to block with Warrior's Valor if possible. So we're going to use our crown to hopefully dig into a react. And we don't, which is unfortunate. But we could still bluff that we have a react by playing out our Valor, Supremacy, and swinging. Looks like they're not going to block at all, which is great for us. So we're just going to then draw up and draw into Unsheath, which is nice. So we're going to then play out Unsheath and make some Vigor as well. We're going to make some Vigor first. And then play Unsheath. And then we're going to use Bracers to pump it up even more and come in and swing for 9. It looks like they're just going to take it. And at this point, I do want to make another Vigor. So I'm going to opt to pitch our Puncture and keep the D-React because they're going to go off right here and present a lot of damage. So I am gonna want to have that D-react. I'm just hoping that they don't have something like another CNC or send packing. So Blood Rush Bellows, which is expected. So this is scary, but we do have 2 Vigor tokens, so we are in a pretty decent spot because no matter what, we could swing twice if they don't block the first one. So with that, we could maybe block with Warrior's Valor and Singing. And they can be ballsy and play out Scab Skin Leathers, and they roll a 4 so they get to attack twice. So this is for 5. Oh, sorry, 6 because of the Might token. So we'll take that to the face. This is coming in for 10. And they discard a Beast Within, which is pretty crazy. So they get another card. And this is a lot of damage. so we'll mitigate some of it in case they play out Send Packing or CNC. Oh, the first activation of the new Tyrannical Rex. And another card for 11. Oh, that's a lot of damage. That was what, 11, 11, 6 or something like that. That's a lot. Well, thankfully we have armor, so we're going to block with a card and our chest piece and gloves for 7. Mitigate some of that damage, and now we're down 22 to 12. With only one counter. So not looking the best, but not the worst as well. Because we do have a comeback mechanic with Downblade. Well, eventually they will have to block something out, and if they misblock, the game's pretty much over. So we'll see if they want to try to block this, or we'll just keep on racking up counters. Looks like they're not going to block, so we're going to just play Glint to get go again. We are going to make a Grains here. And we're going to come in and swing for 4 again. And if this is blocked, then we'll play out Blade Flurry to get a counter and Vigor. If they don't block this, we'll get a counter and we'll just make another Vigor. So I'm just gonna be forcing them to try to block this out. And we are gonna play that Blade Flurry to get a counter. Now some of you might say I should have just played it in the first time to get the 2 extra damage. But I prefer getting a counter over trying to push a little bit more damage. So that's why I'm going for this play. Because counter is what lets you win the game eventually. They're going to roll Scavs and they hit a 2. So nothing really changed for them. They're going to come in with Reckless Stampede, which is pretty nasty because that is going to do a lot of damage to us. I'm going to block with Bolters here in case I do want to pop Bolters. But thinking back, I don't think I should have because I'm going to take 1 damage anyway from the trigger. So it was almost like I didn't block with Bolters. But that is me just getting used to the card. And also since we could take 7 here, but that's going to put us pretty low. So I'll just play Shelter here to technically block for 3. But thankfully they showed Cast Bones so we don't take any damage, so it worked out fine. Nice. So this is coming for 7, which is a pretty big breakpoint with only 2 armor left. And we have beat other Ironsong to give it +1, go again, and 1 more mode of either cards can't gain block value or can't prevent it. So I don't think the other 2 really matter. Maybe the prevention effect could be useful, but then again, the card to increase defense value might be a card that they might be running that increases their block value. I don't know. I don't think it really matters in this matchup. We really just want to be able to pick those 2 modes of go again and +1. We're hoping that this hits because then we could hopefully draw a blue, swing again, and then break Bolters to CNC. But they're going to overblock here, which is pretty punishing for us because we're now left with 2 cards. And we're going to just Arsenal 1 card. I could Arsenal CNC, but it's not that great. So we're going to just see what they do. They're gonna come in for 8. Which is pretty much all my health. So we're gonna have to give them a card at least. And we're gonna give them 2 cards to just take 2 damage. Because we do have beat other Ironsong, so if they don't block this, we could come in and swing again. Looks like they say no blocks, so we're gonna play beat. Just give it go again. And hopefully this hits. And it does. So we could break bolters. Of course not. We could make grains. We're not going to. And we're going to come in for a break point of 4 because we know they don't have a D-React since they would have played the D-React in the previous chain link. So we're going to come in for a break point, get a counter, and arsenal a sigil in case they are going to come in for a big kill. And they're going to come in with the Blood Rush Bellows, which is very unfortunate because we're only at 6 health. But we do have a sigil in arsenal, so that's gaining 3 more life. So we're pretty much at 9 even. So as long as I could hold on to 1 card, maybe it'll be fine. But I don't know. We'll see. They don't have go again. So this is at least going to be claw into something, which is going to be pretty scary. So that's 6 from the might on claw plus another attack for maybe 8 to 10. Yeah, that's a lot. 16 damage. We're going to just block with 1 card. I'm just going to come in for send packing. We're going to play out the sigil to go around it. And now this is for 8. We're at 6, so we need to at least block with a 3 block to live at 1. We could block with grains and bracers to stay at 3 in case they have reckless swing, so we don't just die from it. But I don't want to risk it because I don't want to die to something like that. So I'm gonna block with bracers and grains to go down to 3 health. Now we're gonna swing for 4 with Blade Flurry, that's 6. And then we'll pop bolters and swing again for another 6. So that's 12 damage we're gonna be presenting. So at this point, damage matters more than counters. So I am gonna want to present lethal. And I do want to present at least 12 because that means that they're gonna give me 2 cards. So they're gonna say no block, so we are gonna just play out the Blade Flurry, just push more damage. Now that's gonna hit. We're gonna swing again for another 6. Alright, 3 to 3, we even it up. Oh, this is gonna be painful. A Reckless Stampede at this point is pretty bad. Because I am going to take 2 damage most likely from blocking with 2 cards. And then I could play Take It on the Chin to block one of those pings, but it's not worth it. And I have a no block in hand too. This is not looking great. But because I am at 3, I could take 2 pings and go to 1. And then I could use Take It on the Chin to then block out the last 2 damage. So it's very good that I block with grains and bracers the last turn. If not, the game was pretty much over. So more reasons why it's important to make sure that you keep your health above that lethal threshold of 2. because this Reckless Stampede is a power card into us. Alright, now that the ping is done, we are going to play Take It on the Chin to block this completely out and live at 1 health. On our turn, we're going to come in and just swing for 4 damage. And we're going to have go again on this, and I feel like the opponent messed up because they didn't realize that maybe I didn't have the go again. Because now we're going to be able to pump and swing for 5. So this is going to strip 2 cards out of them. Looks like they're going to go up their whole hand, including that Reckless Stampede that blocks for 0 to maybe filter their hand. But because of that one mistake, pretty much the game's over. Because now they just pass it back to me, and at 2 health, they can't really do anything. Because if they overblock, I could go around it. Or if they underblock, I could just pump it up and kill them. Looks like they're just gonna block for 6. So we're going to then just come here, grab Glint, and then play Puncture as well to go over for 2. To see if they have that D-React. It looks like they don't, so that is the game. So very close game. Unfortunate miss up from them at the end, but yeah, it could have been, I think, my game loss because I think they could have just played out the Reckless Stampede for 7 damage, and I think I would have just died to the pings. So I think I should have lost that game, to be honest. Maybe there were some other things I could have done in the game to win it too, but yeah, very close game. Was able to win it. Probably should have lost, but nonetheless got the win. So Reckless Stampede is a very strong card into us and makes me want to play more than CNCs just in case I could win the clashes or not die to the clashes. But I don't really want to dilute my deck, so I'm not sure. I think I'll stay as is and we'll see. So that was the game into Kayo. He is definitely more consistent, has some nasty new cards, especially the Reckless Stampede, which can be devastating at low health. So make sure you keep your health up to not die to it. Because of the new cards they got, I put this matchup as a close 55-45 in our favor. So harder than before, but still doable. We'll see if he stays relevant or starts to fall off, seeing that he doesn't seem to be converting so well in the bigger tournaments. Anyway, that is for now. Sorry for the long delay, and I hope to make a new video soon. Which the next one will be a Challenger Series video into the recent ProQuest Plus winner, Peter, on his Syndra. The games I will show are pretty exciting, so hope you're looking forward to it. If you want to see it before I finish editing, join my Patreon to get an early viewing of it. But until next time, take care.